Milton, you translate to feel all his muscles. Just get acquainted with his body. And so he felt of his toes, his feet, his ankles, his knees, his calf, his leg muscles, his back muscles, belly muscles, arm muscles, and so on. The second time I saw him, I said, Dallas, after years coaching, you've reached the shot put of 58 feet. I'm going to tell you something. And listen to me. Dallas, no matter how intelligent you are, you really don't know the difference between 58 feet and 58 feet and 1/16 of an inch. You agree? I said, you don't know the difference between 58 feet and 58 feet and 1/8 of an inch. And I kept on increasing until you don't know the difference between 58 feet, 59 feet. And Dallas agreed. I said, now you've been thinking all this time you put it only 58 feet. Now you know you can put 58 feet and 1/16, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 59 feet. Now, Dallas, that's right. 2 weeks later, it set a national high school record. And I just freed him from that 58-foot superstition. And that summer, he came and said, on the American Olympic team for shot put, what should I do? I said, Dallas, I know you can win the gold medal. I know you can win the silver medal. And the shot put in the Olympics is just a superstition. And Dallas, you're only an 18-year-old kid. If you win the gold medal, you'll be competing against yourself forevermore. Now, it's all right if you let Perry and O'Brien take gold or silver medals, and you can bring home a bronze medal. I'll leave you a gold to work for. And Dallas brought home the bronze medal. Perry and O'Brien did bring home the gold and silver medals. And that Olympics at Mexico City, Dallas came in and said, what shall I do at Mexico City? I said, Dallas, for years and years, the shot put for the Olympics, the winning shot put has been under 62 feet. That's just a superstition. I know it can be 62 feet and 1/16 of an inch. I know it can be under 63 feet. It'll be all right if you bring home a gold medal. He brought home a gold medal. And when the Olympics were held in Tokyo, Dallas came in and said, what shall I do this time? I said, Dallas, already had the gold medal. There'll be no trouble at all for you to bring home a second gold medal. Olympic champions don't last long. And you can be a 3-time winner. and bring home a gold medal from Tokyo. So he did. And then he told me he's going into college and that he was eligible for 2 more meets in the shot put. 2 official intercollegiate meets. He said, what shall I do? I said, Dallas, as you prove, 262 feet or less has been a superstition for years and years. Now, I don't know if that 63 feet is the limit or 70 feet is the limit. Well, why don't you put a shot somewhere in between? You home 65 feet and 6 inches. The next official meeting he's allowed to attend. He asked what to do, and I said, Dallas, you show him that 65 feet, 6 inches can be easily reached. Now this time, see just how far you can put it. And Dallas put it 68 feet and 10 inches. Then the captain of the advanced marksmanship rifle team of the Army, which I had coached for the international shoot, and they had beaten the Russians for the first time. I was talking to the coach at Texas A&M, and the captain of the rifle team told the coach at Texas A&M how I coached Dallas Long. The coach said, so that's the way Dallas Long established the all-time record. Well, I'm coaching Randy Matheson. I'll explain to Randy that the limit is not 68 feet and 10 inches. It might even be 68 feet and 11 inches. Randy listened. He said, I think Erickson had a good way of coaching Dallas Long. Now I'm going to see how far I can put it. And he put it at 70 feet. Now the record is up to, I think, 70 feet and 6 inches. Yeah, so many people say, I can't. You break it down. And they have to admit they couldn't measure a 16th of an inch. And when you double that, they still can't measure it. I trained the rifle team. The coach wanted me to use hypnosis. I fired a rifle twice in my childhood. That's all I knew about rifles. I knew the rifle team knew all about rifles. I didn't have to bother to teach them how to handle a rifle. They knew how. I didn't know that they didn't know how to handle their bodies. You know, I used hypnosis to teach them how to have their feet rest, the soles of their feet rest comfortably on the ground. Have their ankles come together just exactly right. Have their legs feel fine, their knees feel fine, hips feel fine, upper part of the body fine, left hand over the stock feel fine. The stock resting the elbow against the shoulder, feeling just right pressure. And lean your head against the stock. That feels so nice on your cheek. and feel a trigger with your trigger finger very, very gently. And it's something you like. And then you look at the bullseye, and at the right moment you squeeze the trigger. And one other thing I had to teach them. After they pull the trigger the first time, you see, in a rifle marksmanship contest, you shoot 40 rounds, and you fire 40 bullets in succession at the target. Now, you make a bullseye the first time easily. When you have a second, you're not much worried about a second. You can get up to 19 questions, can you make it the 20th time? And 29 when you make it the 30th time. You made it 35, you get 36, and tension keeps mounting. You made it 39 times, you make it the 40th time. Tension grows and grows. I taught them to forget they had fired and think each shot they fired was the first one. And they had me told, you've shot 40 times. I won golf tournaments that way. We're teaching a golfer to think you're still in the first hole. You have to be told. He's now in the 18th, he's won. I've trained a lot of Olympic athletes. So I've got a lot of Olympic gold medals. Well, they're in the care of others. You all know the people who stick their big toe in the swimming pool. It may take them half an hour to get immersed all the way. I'll tell you the story of Max and Wanda. I first joined the Worcester State Hospital staff. I met Max and Wanda, a young couple in junior psychiatrist. They were very much in love. They were very friendly. They invited me to go swimming in Lake Seguin, which adjoins the hospital farm. I accepted the invitation. I'm my bathing suit, bathrobe, joined them in their car. And to my surprise, Wanda was so sulky all the way to the lake, had nothing to say. And Wanda was a very social girl. And Max was his own cheerful self. When we reached the beach, Wanda leaped out of the car, took off her bathrobe, threw it in the back seat, and strolled down the lake and plunged in the water. Not a word to the two of us. Very bad manners. Max and I walked down the beach, chatting, and when Max's big toe touched wet sand, he said, I think I'll go in swimming tomorrow. Then I understood Wanda's behavior. All he drew his big toe off the wet sand, sat down on the dry sand, and I plunged in the lake, one, I had a good swim. Certainly, on the way back to the hospital, I asked Wanda, how much water does Max put in a bathtub? And she said, 1 lousy inch. Short time, less than a week later, superintendent offered Max promotion to senior psychiatrist. Max said he didn't think he's ready yet. Superintendent said, if you weren't ready for it, I wouldn't have offered it to you. You're going to take the promotion or you're out of a job. Max resigned. And elsewhere. I lost all track of them. Some 25 years later, I lectured at the Pennsylvania Academy of General Practice. At the end of my lecture, an old, gray-haired man, an old, gray-haired, haggard-looking woman approached me and said, do you know us? I said, your question implies I should. I really don't. And he said, I'm Max. He said, I'm Wanda. I turned to Max and said, I remember Sylvia now. When are you going swimming, Max? He first said, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, of course.
And I turned to one and said, how much water does Max put in the bathtub? He said, the same lovely, stinky 1 inch. Wanda had been in love with her husband. She wanted children. And she loved Max. And she waited and waited and waited until he was ready. He should have known by his 1 inch of water in the bathtub, he'd never be ready. He should have known by the fact that I'll go swimming tomorrow. I asked Max, what are you doing now? He said, I'm retired. I said, what rank? He said, junior psychiatrist. The facts I asked those questions indicate I knew back in 1930 that the answer would be in 25 years' time. Either you go in swimming or you don't. Either you accept a promotion or you don't. Either you become a father or you don't. And Harry poor Wanda, living on hope until hope became impossible. Where else could she go? I've seen that sort of thing happen over and over again. In bright young high school graduates, full of promise, and take a job. They're going to college next year. They're going to college next year. Going to college next year. And 25, 30 years later, they're still working in the barber shop. And all the years I've been in medicine, the only people I've seen who starved to death had a money belt with $100,000 in cash around their abdomens.
The only people who started that the people have $100,000 money belts on their packaging.
You read those stories all the time in newspapers. The Collier brothers of New York.
You think you could have helped Max way back then?
Hmm?
You think you could have helped Max 25 years before?
I didn't have the right to pick him up and throw him in the water.
Because he didn't ask for your help.
And I didn't have the right.
That's why you didn't have the right.
That's right. In grade school, Jimmy, every summer, sat on the river bank and said, as sure as God made little green apples, we're going swimming tonight. I went through grade school, high school, and Jimmy every summer sat on the river bank. As sure as God made little green apples, we're going swimming tonight. You had to wait out about 20 feet before the water got higher than this. Jimmy fought through World War I, came back, sure as God made little green apples, I'm going swimming tonight. Jimmy's dead of old age. He's going swimming tomorrow night. He never did go. He wasted all that time. A woman came to me in 1962. She wanted to help in quitting smoking. Asked a few questions. I knew she didn't want help in quitting smoking. She was so shy. I thought I'd better be very slow and cautious. I hypnotized her. I gave her a second appointment. She never showed up. 10 years later, she came in to see me and reminded me that she'd seen me in 1962. It's now 1972. He said, I came to you, asked you to quit smoking. You put me in a trance to help me. I knew you could help me. And I knew you would ask, that I would ask you to help me. I wasn't ready for help. You see, my husband had deserted me. I've been 2 small girls. I've got less than a grade school education. I'm Mexican. And I do little girls sport, no training. I'd resort to prostitution. That's why I supported the 2 girls. And I knew if I came back to you, I'd tell you about that. I wasn't ready to tell anybody. I'm a professional prostitute. And now, I'm happily married to another man. He's in love with me, I'm in love with him. And my daughters are growing up. And I need help. Because I do the wrong thing all the time. I keep starting crocheting afghans. I get 1 or 2 squares crocheted. I change my mind. I start making another afghan. Change my mind, start making another. I've got remnants of a couple dozen afghans. incomplete. And I met my husband 8 years ago. He doesn't know anything about my past. Girls are now grown up into their teens. And each year, half a dozen times a year, I bought the cloth and patterns and cut out the dresses. And maybe I've sewn a couple parts together. I got them all in big bags that's locked up. Dozens and dozens of dresses I made for my children out in their teens. Those girls will soon be on their own. And I think I set a very bad example. Always starting things, never finishing them. Can you help me? I said, yes. Go home, look over Afghan patterns, and bring me a square of the pattern you like best. Or you have 3 squares or 4 squares, bring them all. He showed it to me. You brought in 1 square. She said, I would really like this Afghan completed. I said, your next appointment is 1 week from now. By that time, you will have completed so many squares. The next appointment, he had done that number. I said, now, a week from now, you'll report again. It'll take 2 more appointments for you to finish that Afghan. He finished it in a beautiful pattern. Want to give it to me? I said, no, you're going to keep it and use it. Now, next thing, you unlock that box where you have all those incomplete dresses for your daughters. And you give them the goodwill. And you buy some new dry goods and some patterns. I want you to make a dress for each of your daughters. I want you to have them help you. And then you teach them on dust rags and brown paper how to use a sewing machine. And you have them buy some dry goods and a pattern, and you have them, without your help, cut out pattern and sew their dresses together and wear them. Now, at the end of the therapy, you got rid of all the horrible, incomplete memories. Got rid of the Afghan. She had a nice one. Her daughters had new dresses, and they were making new ones. So, at the end of the therapy, when you get a patient to abandon something, you have a void. You should fill it in with something constructive. Don't take away a bad habit. Take it away, but replace it with something good. And always get your patients to do things. I don't know if I showed you this small box, did I? No, down.
No.
One of my students who's doing family therapy told me how she'd worked for 6 months on mother and father and their retarded daughter. She got good results with father and mother. As for the retarded daughter, all daughter had done for 20 years and throw temper tantrums. And during the 6 months of therapy, she taught the parents to endure the temper tantrums. Now the girl still was showing one temper tantrum after another. I told her, you're wasting your time with the parents. Now do something with the girl. Teach that girl to do something, anything, and have her do it. You have her do it well enough and take pride in it. And the student followed my advice. I don't know what you told that girl about me. This is what the girl made.
Oh.
Examine it thoroughly. Isn't that a work of art?
Yes.
And now that girl knows she can do things. And she knows she can do things that a lot of other people can't do.
Well, it's really detailed, too.
And so I'm delighted to receive that present. And now that temper tantrum girl, she's happy, she's busy, she does things. And a lot of energy goes into temper tantrums. You better harness it. And I don't think there's anybody here who could do that kind of good work. Think of the infinite patience it took.
A lot of self-control.
A
lot of self-control.
Self-control.
Yeah, it's really fine work.
And fine work.
The lady with the Afghan, you didn't put her into a trance that time, you just talked to her?
I've been in a trance once for me.
What's that?
Once she's been in a trance for me, once. I can meet her 20 years from now, she'll go into trance. Didn't you see her go into trance a few minutes ago?
I made a choice to do it. I wanted to because I wanted to work on, because that's a problem for me too. Not finishing things and procrastinating.
And you went in trance because you know a useful thing to do.
Yes.
I've done experiments. I had a good suppy in Massachusetts. She finished her internship. He was a psychologist, a PhD. And she went to live elsewhere, first in New York, then Illinois. And when she left Massachusetts, I said, sometime in the future, I don't know when, we may meet again. And when we do, as soon as you recognize me, I like to have you go into a trance. And I wonder how long a trance suggestion will last. Because I'm interested too. He's interested in experimental psychology. Years went by. I moved from Massachusetts, Michigan, and finally, I think about 15 years later, I went to the American Psychological Meeting in Evanston, Illinois. With me was Gregory Bateson, the anthropologist. And at noontime, Gregory, with his Australian language, has passed around for something to eat. So I accompanied him to the cafeteria, loaded our trays, and then Gregory said, "I'll take your tray and carry it for you. You wait here. This place is crowded. I'll wander around and find a table for us. Now, put your tray down, I'll signal to you." And finally, from way across the room, signal from booth. So I went over. And Gregory said, "I asked this young lady here, be all right." I joined her in the booth. He said, "Be all right." So, before we eat, let's introduce ourselves. And he was horrified. The girl was sound asleep. He said, "What's happened to her? Is she an epileptic? Something wrong?" I said, "Harriet, I want to introduce Dr. Bateson, a friend of mine. I awfully glad to see you after all these years." He said, "I'm glad to meet you again. It's really been a long time." I said, "I'm going to awaken you now. I'll introduce you to Dr. Bateson again." He awakened. I stood up and said, "Dr. Bateson, meet Harriet, an old-time friend of mine." Just an accidental meeting. I think that with any of you, if I met you later, it wouldn't take very long for you to go into a trance. Oh, yeah. Now you know why you've been sitting there yesterday and today. Wake up. And all of you can make the same response. Oh, you don't know it, do you? Now you know it. That's right. You're already in a trance. And all my residents in psychiatry, some wanted to be put in hypnosis, some didn't. And I would lecture on something and fall asleep. The others that had been hypnotized stay awake and be very resentful. And the others being allowed to sleep. And those who had been hypnotized and slept through my lectures remembered them better than those who had stayed awake. And they were listening unconscious mind. I used to assign books to my residents. Tell them, here's a book for you to review. I'll call on you for a review in 3 or 4 months' time. I'll give you ample opportunity to read the book, digest it thoroughly, or a comprehensive review. And I give them all a book. About 4 months later, I call a meeting and say I've decided to collect the book reviews. And not so the doctor, I forgot. Honestly, I forgot. I took the book. I've left it on my desk, waiting for time to read it. I just simply forgot to. You're given orders. You've forgotten to read the book. That's your tough luck. Today's book review time. And I'm going to call on every one of you. I'd call on non-hypnotic residents. They'd all give a good review. And I'd call on the hypnotic subject. And they would protest again. They hadn't read it. I'd say, all right. Take some paper and summarize what you think is in chapter 3. And summarize what you think is in chapter 7 and chapter 9. And how can I guess what the author put in those chapters? And guess away, and no way out, you're going to do it. They will write desperately. And after they turn in their written work, I had their books there. We'd compare what they thought should be in chapters 3 or 7 with what was actually in chapter 3 or 7. And say, how did I know that? They had read the book in a trance state. And they remembered it better, but they had no conscious knowledge. They had read the book, that the knowledge was in their heads and available at the right time. You often hear, for example, doctors saying, I don't know how I did that right. I really didn't know how to do it. And I was working in surgery. The idea came to me, do it this way, so I did it this way, and it turned out to be right. It's something you learn unconsciously. And our unconscious learning is retained much longer. And it's not so available as our conscious knowledge. Our unconscious knowledge comes forth when it's needed. And so I tried to teach my subject, don't just rely on your conscious mind. Your unconscious mind knows a lot more than you do. It's a lot brighter. And it has everything you learn at its fingertips. And consciously you say, this is a terrible problem. I wonder how you work it. Your unconscious knows how to work it, and you turn it over your unconscious. Your unconscious mind will solve it very easily. I think the best experiment I know was conducted by workers off Sienkiewicz. And she was collecting a lot of these wire puzzles that you take apart and put back together again. He collected 100 or more. He had them spread on the table. He had a one-way mirror there. He would sit behind that one-way mirror and watch schizophrenic patients solve those puzzles one by one. And send them in to solve puzzles, take them apart, put them back together again. And he asked for control subjects. And he asked various employees. And she happened to ask Paul Houston, who was psychiatrist in Iowa, Canada Department, and me. And we didn't know about that one-way mirror. He just told us to go in, take puzzles apart, and put them back together again. How we couldn't work, we should put to one side. And she watched us through a one-way mirror. And to her horror, you saw Dr. Houston enter the room, look at the table, turn it back to us, reach behind, pick up the puzzle, take it apart behind his back, bring the pieces out, look at them, put his hands behind his back, put it back together again. He saw every one of the puzzles that way. And I followed him. I didn't know that Paul had been used as a subject. And workers off Sienkiewicz watched me. I walked the room, looked over the table, turned my back to it, took the puzzles apart, looked at them after I had them apart, my hands behind me, put them together again. Had them down, took up another. You see those wire puzzles, and you can try to do it consciously. You let your vision interfere with your tactile feelings. And you try to tangle your vision with your tactile responses. And those puzzles are so hard to get apart. When you cut off the vision entirely, they're easily solved. And Paul happened to know that as well as I did. And he wanted to question us why. He said we didn't want to tangle our eyesight with our fingers. And we knew our unconscious mind would interpret the tactile feelings correctly. And we wouldn't be trying to organize a puzzle with our eyes. Very few people try to use their unconscious mind. And you should do it. And your unconscious is so much brighter than you are. You always call it hindsight. 2 weeks too late, you think of right retort to make. If you leave it to your unconscious, you can make that retort immediately.
How do you get your conscious out of the way so your unconscious can do it? I mean, I understand how you need it with a puzzle.
I got a letter once from a professor of psychiatry. He wanted to be my patient. Years before, he'd been at Duke University. And I learned about him. I read the papers he published. And I knew was much more intelligent than I was. You're much quicker-witted than I was. You're much better educated than I was. He was also very proud of being Castilian Spanish. And he prided himself on being arrogant. And he took great pride in being insensitive to other people's feelings. He's horribly rude. And he's so quick-witted. And some of my friends from Duke University told me about him, how brilliant he was, how quick-witted, how well-educated he was, and how awfully arrogant he was. I got his letter, I thought, me do psychotherapy on a man brighter than I am, quicker-witted than I am, better educated than I am, and he's neurotic, he's arrogant, insensitive, and I don't like to quarrel with patients. I'll be pretty helpless. And finally I said to myself, I don't have to worry. My unconscious is as smart as he is or smarter. I'll let my unconscious figure out what should happen. I wrote back I'd received him, and the patient gave him an appointment, a 2-hour appointment for the first interview. He showed up at 2 o'clock one afternoon. We introduced ourselves to each other. I'd never met him before, shook hands. Usual social amenities. I sat down, he sat down, and I took down his name, address, telephone number, his current address, his marital state, number of children, so on. Then I turned to him, asked him, what is your problem? I turned to the chair, and the chair was empty. I looked at the clock. The clock said 4 o'clock. I looked at my desk. I found in the middle of my folder. It had some sheets of paper in it. I knew at once what I had done. And I turned to ask him his problem. I went into a deep trance. I didn't know I was going to do it. It just happened. And the sheets of paper in the folder told me I'd taken notes. So I didn't open the folder. And he kept coming for interviews. I kept taking notes. After 12 or 14 hours, jumped up and said, Dr. Erickson, you are in a trance. I awakened and said, yes, I was in a trance. I know that you're better educated than I am. I know that you are more intelligent than I am. I know that you're quicker-witted than I am. And considering all that, at first I thought it would be impossible to accept you as a patient. Then I realized that my unconscious mind is just as smart as you are. And so when you came, my unconscious mind took over. And I said, oh, and what is that picture above your desk? I said, my parents. He said, your father's occupation. He said, he's a retired farmer. And he said, with the utmost scorn, a peasant. I said, yes. a peasant. And for all I know, the blood of bastards, my ancestors, may run in your veins. And he knew the history of the Vikings.
You what?
He knew the history of the Vikings. And they left many bastards behind them. All over Europe, everywhere. I knew that perhaps the blood of bastards of my ancestors did run in his veins. He was an awfully good boy after that. I couldn't figure it out consciously. That's an apt insult. And during last week, on Monday, I said, now wait. Our last appointment was Saturday. He said, yes. I said, I hate to see you go. He said, our relationship has been wonderful. And I said, by the way, you were at Duke University. How many prominent psychologists did you meet there? And it was a name dropper. He told me the names and addresses of all the important men he knew in the United States. On Friday, I said, by the way, how do you intend to pay me? He said, I'll send you a check from South America as soon as I get home. I said, no. Tomorrow's the last day. You'll bring in cash, our cashier's check. And he said, so that's why you want to know the names of all my friends in the United States. I said, yes. I didn't tell him. I had been told before. He was analyzing London by Ernest Jones, and he promised him Ernest Jones a check from South America. Ernest is still waiting. He left a lot of bad debts at Duke University, promising to send a check from South America. Well, I wanted to collect. I asked him for any important people he knew. He answered very instantly. He liked to drop names. And when I told him to bring in either cash or a cashier's check, he knew right away why I had gotten those names and addresses. I got paid. Even after that, when he got back to South America, he continued to write, got a divorce from his wife. He was Catholic, and she found it unbearable for him to keep his mistress in his home. His wife had to take orders from his mistress. And so I encouraged him to divorce his wife. And our priests who were advising her had explained it was wrong to live in sin with a man and his mistress. And wrong to let his mistress rear her children, discipline her children, deprive her of all her rights. And so the Catholic Church approved of divorce for his wife and disapproved it for her husband. I later went to Mexico and became professor of psychiatry there. And it was the most selfish utterly brilliant, quick-witted, one of the brightest and quickest-witted I ever met, and so absolutely unkind. I couldn't have handled him in a waking state. I know my unconscious a lot smarter.
I have a question to ask you. So when we talk about the unconscious being the smarter part, the part that really knows what's going on, so do I assume from that when people have gotten themselves in messed up situations, that it's all their conscious mind that's the demon?
Our unconscious mind often gives us the right idea, and they take charge of it consciously and messes it up.
But at the core, you think the unconscious is really...
Could have handled it. No. People fail to observe things, know things. A mother brought her daughter to me, 9 years old. He told me her daughter wet the bed every night for 9 years. Now, mother had punished the girl every way she could think of. And her final punishment had been to draw with crayon a circle around Westfall sheet and point out to the girl how much she wet the bed each night by filling that circle. I sent the mother out. I had to talk to the girl. We talked about her wetting the bed, her mother's punishment, and drawing that crayon circle on the sheet before she went to bed, and predicting the girl would wet the bed that much. The girl always wetting it that much. So I told the girl, now listen, you've been too obedient to the mother. I'll tell the mother, let me handle you. Tell her that you're my patient, and she hasn't got anything more to say about your bedwetting. And she's let you wet the bed any way you wish. I just want you to obey me. And your mother's going to mark a circle on your sheet tonight. And you've always wet the bed enough to reach the circle. Just your mother said you would. That's a night. Wet the bed at least 2 inches beyond the circle. And prove to your mother she's wrong. And so the little girl and I played a game of circles. I told Mother to draw a circle every night when she goes to bed. Mother didn't know why he insisted on that. She's obedient. And I tell her to draw a small circle, a large circle, great big circle, very small circle. And I tell the girl, a very small circle, wet the bed a lot. And a very big circle, wet the bed just a little bit. So I had the girl outguessing her mother all the time. And I told her mother, what is how smart the girl? Draw a whole series of circles So that no matter how much or how little she wets the bed, it'll be within one of those concentric circles. Of course, I told the girl, don't wet the bed tonight at all. So she didn't. And Mother was wrong again. It was a nice little game the girl and I played, proving that Mother was wrong. And finally the girl said, it's really not fun to wet the bed like that. I said, you're right. I knew you'd find that out after a while. So, let's let your mother worry. Because you can tell her you're not sure that you'll have a dry bed tonight. You go ahead and have it, let her worry. He's punished you plenty. Now you can let her worry. Now, finally she wakes up to the fact you're all through wetting the bed. Oh, little girl got her revenge. Yeah. She got her revenge in a childish way. Why ask a child to behave like a grown-up person? Now here's a case history I want to tell you about. I got a phone call from Toronto. One called me, he said, I'm an MD. My husband is an MD. We have 5 children. A middle one, a girl, 14 years old, is in the hospital with anorexia nervosa. And she hasn't got much longer to live. We've both read Uncommon Therapy. You think maybe you can save her life. I said, give me a couple days to think it over, then call me back and see if I'll take the case. And see, in the hospital setting, I had seen at least 50 anorexia nervosa cases. They're all electricians in a hospital. Proper medication, all proper, dignified medical procedures. And they all died. And I had often wanted to treat one my own way. And I was not considered appropriate, proper, dignified, medically approved. And 2 days thinking it over, told Mother, bring your daughter to see me. So Mother and Susie arrived. Susie, 14 years old, weighing 61 pounds. Of normal height, just 61 pounds. She'd lost 6 pounds in the last month in the hospital and got proper medical care. So Mother brought Susie in. Hi, Susie. Number of her home on the street. Mother answered. Asked Susie what school she went to. Mother answered. Asked her who her classmates were. Mother answered. In fact, every question I put to Susie, for 2 days, Mother answered. On the 3rd day, Mother came in and said, I've got to tell you this, Dr. Erickson. Well, since we left Canada, Susie has whimpered all night long and kept me awake. And Susie said, I didn't know I was keeping you awake very sorry. I don't know what you know about the Erickson or both cases, but they all have a peculiar emotional relationship with the parents. I don't know how to describe it. They have a peculiar emotional relationship with their siblings. I don't know how to describe it. And they all have a religious identification. They identify with God, with Jesus, with Mary, or some saint, or with religion in general. Are meek and docile, submissive, obedient, and never do anything wrong. If by accident they do, they apologize. Are perfectly willing to punish. And they think an oyster cracker, a glass of ginger ale, is overeating.
You think what?
One oyster cracker and a glass of ginger ale each day is overeating. And they all have that religious identification of some sort, and they will not commit a sin. They won't wrong anybody, but they won't eat either. And they think they're perfectly healthy. I saw a discussing clinical director of a hospital ordered the nurse undressed completely. A 14-year-old girl who weighed 59 pounds. The girl was a little bit above average height. And in the nude, in 59 pounds, he was an unlovely sight. Skin and bones, and the order the staff to make uncomplimentary remarks about her appearance. And girls with their perfect poise, didn't blush, wasn't the least bit embarrassed. He acted as if she were in total darkness, 100 miles away from any human being. You can't understand her emotional state. And yet, if they happen to do something wrong, I keep mother awake by whimpering. I apologize, say they're sorry. I told Susie, you whimpered and kept your mother awake. She said, yes, I whimpered. I didn't always keep your mother awake. That's wrong for me to do it. I apologize. I won't do it again. I said, even if you didn't do it purposely, the fact is you did cause your mother to lose sleep, and your mother's entitled to punish you. I'm going to tell your mother how to punish you. And Sue said, thank you. I think I should be punished. Privately, I told mother how to punish her. Mother double punishment. She was really angry at her daughter. The first time she dared to punish the girl. And Susie's been asleep for almost a year. Mother had felt increasing frustration, anger and concern about her daughter. Punishment. I told mother to scramble an egg and feed it to Susie as punishment. And Susie took 2 scrambled eggs. I ate them as punishment, not as food. I was betting her stomach I'd make a mistake and think it was food. I would upset the apple cart that way. And I also told daughter, your mother brought you here for me to treat. I'm a medical man. He thinks I should treat you. Now, I am a medical man. I make my own diagnoses. I write my own prescriptions. And while I know that you're a trifle underweight, I don't see that you're really sick. But I think you'll agree with me, I do have certain medical privileges. First place, looking after your health, I am entitled to ask you to brush your teeth twice a day, and brush your gums twice a day, and keep your gums healthy and your teeth from getting cavities. And Susie agreed. I did have that right. I explained, in toothpaste is brush your teeth and not to be swallowed. And Susie agreed. I said, I'm also entitled to prescribe a mouthwash for you. Toothpaste sticks to your teeth and gums and your oral mucous membranes. You should spit it out and not swallow it. And you ought to use a mouth rinse. Rinse out your mouth. And a mouth rinse is you spit it out. All with toothpaste, it's not to be swallowed. And Susie agreed. I exacted absolute promise from her. You can brush her teeth twice a day and rinse out her mouth with mouthwash twice a day. And I told her, any fluoride toothpaste will be all right. And your mouthwash is raw cod liver oil.
Yuck.
Just one yuck? Anybody who's ever tasted raw cod liver oil, rinse out their mouth with street dust. Yeah, Mother looked horrified. Yeah, Susie, who knew what raw cod liver oil was, her face was very expressive consternation, as she had solemnly promised. And she had a religious identification, not a promise she had to keep. Now, in the first 2 weeks, Susie gained 3 pounds, lost 1, and gained it back. So my mouthwash did help.
She still never ate anything else?
Well, I didn't talk about that. I didn't talk at all about her eating.
In my hunch, she did eat because the taste of the cod liver oil was so horrible.
But I knew how horrible it was. I'd used it before. And anybody who gets that taste in their mouth will eat just anything. Oh, I have to to eat. And then in therapy with Susie, I told her interesting stories, boring stories, anecdotes, metaphors, any useless bit of story I could think of. For example, I told Susie with great bitterness that my mother had been born in a super deluxe log cabin It was a super deluxe log cabin. There's logs on 4 sides and a wooden floor. That makes it super deluxe. And I told her, log cabin I was born in had only 3 sides of logs. 4th side was a mountain, and it had a dirt floor. I explained to her how I'd been born in a mining camp in Sierra Nevada mountains. My mother ran a boarding house of miners, and the grocery wagon was called a freighter, drawn by a 20-mule team, came into a mining camp only twice a year, and so you had to order your next 6 months' supplies of a boarding house, and you didn't dare to run out. And how do you figure out how much salt, how much pepper, how much cinnamon, how many pounds of dried apple, how much cornstarch, how much baking powder will you need for the next 6 months? Our boarding house, where the clientele changes periodically because miners drift away and new ones come. You have an inconstant population, like running a restaurant. You never know how many customers you're going to have. And the freight wagon with groceries came in only twice a year. That intrigued Susie's attention because her mother had brought up all of her children to be able to cook. And the parents had great interest in food, and good food, properly cooked food. And of course I threw in a lot of boring things, suspenseful things, frightening things, and just ran her up and down the gamut of emotions. And then one day I was asking Susie a question. Her mother, as usual, answered her. I turned to Mother. I said, Mother, I asked that question of Susie. And right along, you've been answering all the questions I put to Susie. From now on, will you please keep your trap shut? And Susie looks at her mother, wondering eyes, a stranger talking brutally to her mother. She had to alter all of her emotional attitudes to allow a stranger being that horribly rude to her mother. Have her mother blood say yes, sir, meekly.
Why didn't you say that right at first? Not keep your trap shut, but why didn't you tell the mother not to answer for her daughter at the beginning?
I knew I didn't understand the emotions. And I wanted to get a good display and then take her by surprise. I didn't want to prepare her at all. I wanted to surprise her every possible way.
Susie.
Yeah, Susie. Yeah, Susie was patient. Mother wasn't. And the mother, the whole family likes to travel. I spent one Christmas in Acapulco, next Christmas in Mexico City, next one in Vienna, next Christmas in Puerto Rico, next one in Paris, next one in Bahamas. I like to travel. And after I told her mother to keep her trap shut, One morning she asked if Susie she could take Susie up to the Grand Canyon. I said Susie would like to see it. Susie agreed meekly. And I knew Mother wanted to see it, so I agreed. And I told Mother, be sure to remind Susie to take a caliber oil with her. I myself told Susie, take a caliber oil with her. I also told her, never again mention caliber oil, and don't notice that it's missing. As any person, or caliber oil of offerings, if they take it on a trip, they're bound to forget to bring it back. Susie went on a nice trip, about 10 days. And she came back with all the caliber oil. And she couldn't tell her mother. And her mother might go out and buy another supply. He couldn't tell me. And yet she had promised me solemnly, use it twice a day. And she had a religious identification. She'd broken a solemn promise. And she felt as guilty as hell. Very miserably guilty. And guilt and religious identification don't mix very well. Weakening her. Religious identification and altered her food reaction and altered her emotions toward her mother. And finally one day, I asked her mother to stand up. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? I think Mother lied about her height. I think she was 5'9", but she said 5'6". Her weight, 118 pounds, the same as when I got married. I developed an emotional shock. A woman in her mid-40s, the mother of 5 children, and weighing only as much as she did when she was a bride. And actually, at the age of mid-40s, motherhood of 5 children, you ought to weigh at least 130 pounds, probably 140, more likely 145. And you had the nerve to bring your daughter to me because you think she's underweight, and I know you're underweight. From now on, Susie, you see to it your mother cleans up her plate. She doesn't tell me the very next day. Sometime later, Susie said, I forgot to tell you yesterday. And Mother saved half of her hamburger, half his napkin, kept for her night snack. I said, that's all, Mother. And Mother blushed and admitted her guilt. I said, Mother, you have offended against me. I'm going to punish you. And Susie, you should have told me that yesterday, not today. Now, you too have offended against me. I'm going to punish both of you. Well, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, you come to the kitchen main house, bring with you a loaf of bread and plenty of yellow American cheese. I showed up in the kitchen, and Papa survived. 2 slices of bread were taken, and heavily layered with cheese. Put it on a broiler, cheese melted. Turned over, The other side heavily layered with cheese, butter and melted. Gives you a bread slices, using 2 thick layers of cheese. It's very nutritious. And I thought that they both ate every crumb of their slice of bread, all that cheese. And I think that Susie's gastrointestinal tract thought it was food.
What was it?
Susie's gastrointestinal tract thought it was food.
Yeah, psychologically it's punishment. Yeah, physiologically it was food. You know, later I raised the question.
You told her that you didn't think that she was just a little bit underweight, and yet you said before that it's to tell the patient the truth. Now, why in that case did you lie?
Because I wanted to agree with the patient. If she agrees with me, I agree with her, and we both can walk toward the same goal.
When the other, like the fat woman knew she was fat. She was trying to cover it up.
Yeah. And this is really, and the patient really standing up to being does.
You get the patient to go along with you. You usually have to tell them the truth.
Yes.
Sometimes you tell them the truth as they see it, so that they would go along with you. I know you respect them. You've got to have your patients respect you. And a woman who's too fat is lying to herself. You're not respecting yourself. You call her a positive pig, a bucket or lard, and she agrees with you. And she goes along with you. The question came out, how much should they weigh before they went home? Because I know you and your mother are not enjoying your stay with me as a doctor. I knew they didn't enjoy
Oh, they didn't enjoy staying with you.
as a doctor. Oh, her mother agreed to weigh 125 pounds. And Susie offered to weigh 75 pounds. And so I agreed with mother. I settled for 125 pounds. And Susie, I said, you want to weigh 75 pounds? That's all right. But you have to gain 5 pounds the first month you're home. Your mother brings you back. I don't think you'd like it. Susie politely didn't say. She knew she wouldn't like it. Now then the two started to reach their proper weight at 75 and 125. Mother kept in touch with father regularly by phone. When they were the right weight, father brought the other 4 children down, and I had a separate interview with father. How old are you? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? A doctor, you're 5 pounds underweight with the average man of your age and height. Why? It is a preventive measure only. Is there a history of diabetes in the family? No. And then I developed an emotional shock reaction. You have no actual history of diabetes. Set an example of 5 pounds underweight, an example of being underweight for your daughter, saying you're a wrong example, gambling with your daughter's life. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? And I really scolded him thoroughly, and he listened and took it. And I called him 2 older children. I said, when did Susie start getting sick? This is about a year ago. How did she show it? Oh, when any of us tried to give her food, or fruit, or candy, or a present, he always said, I don't deserve it. Keep it for yourself. So we did. I read them a riot act. You and your parents entered into a horrible conspiracy to kill your sister. He had the constitutional right to receive a present, but she did with them with no consequence, so far as you're concerned. She did have the right to receive them, but you kept them for yourselves. And they felt properly rebuked. I called Susie in. I said, Susie, how did you first show your sickness? I said, well, when my parents and brothers and sisters offered me something to eat, I always said, keep it for yourself. I don't deserve it. I read Susie's riot act very angrily, deliberately robbing her parents and her siblings of their constitutional right to give her things. And no, it's specious argument. It's specious argument. Faulty argument. Poor Susie couldn't match it. And they had the right to give them to you. What you did with them, no concern to them. As you deprive them of giving you something. And Susie felt very, very guilty. And just before he left on March 13th, they had arrived on her 11th, Susie and her mother. March 13th, they left. Now, Susie asked if she could have her picture taken, sitting on my lap in a wheelchair. I only had more hands and fingers, I could do things more gracefully. Now here is Susie, 75 pounds, sitting in my lap in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow. Certainly skinny.
How long was that after you started treating?
20 hours.
20 hours.
20 hours over how long a time?
February 11th, March 13th. And I treated Eddie for also 20 hours when I finally figured it out.
Who's Eddie? Your father?
No,
Eddie's the
Eddie's
Lebanese boy.
Lebanese boy.
Ah.
And that Christmas, Sue sent me her picture selling inside Santa Claus in the Bahamas.
Oh, wow.
It says how much she weighs on the back.
Well, that's just a record of her original weight.
Oh, she looks like a nice, healthy young girl there, doesn't she?
A slick chick.
Yeah, I'd say so.
When Susie got home, he found a letter from me saying, "What you weigh is your own business, nobody else's. Your weight lies between you and your conscience."
No.
So I use her religious identification to make her gain weight. Recently, Susie and I have corresponded. You can see by paper, purple shape and that.
Paper, yeah.
And in every letter, in some way, Susie has mentioned food. I'm planting a big garden tomorrow. Cucumber vines are very productive. Our tomatoes are getting ripe. As I mentioned, food. Sent me some Austrian cookies for my birthday present. And recently, he wrote me letters containing a full description of narration nervosa, the 4 stages. The starvation stage, the obesity stage, you manage to get them to live and then become very obese and feel inferior, inadequate, incompetent, undesirable, unwanted in the starvation stage. You can get them alive through the starvation stage and go into an obesity stage as they overeat and feel inadequate, unlikable, unwanted, inferior. And then they go into the 3rd stage where they're normal weight, then obese, then normal, then obese, then normal, then obese. And the 4th stage is, and Susie sent me this picture, her apology. As she's going to send me a full-length picture. That's the 4th stage. And that is the stage at which she gets a date. He says she hasn't enough courage yet to get a date. I'm encouraging her to visit me. And that happens. She's going to drink coffee, go to bed, garden, her museum, the art gallery. And she's going to get a date.
So she went through this obese stage too, is that what you're saying? I didn't quite...
Is that?
She went through an obesity stage too? That's typical of anorexics to do?
Of anorexia nervosa.
Yeah?
I knew the thing I had to do was save her life.
In the starvation stage.
Then my usefulness was over. And obesity can be treated by Canadian doctors. And then there are up and down states. She still can be treated by them. And now I hope to put the finishing touch on her by getting her a date.
I understand that there can also be recurrences at the time of
the next sexual stage, like at puberty, dating.
I didn't inquire about her menstruation, but I doubt if she menstruated. Now she reached the obesity stage. And maybe not until she reached the fluctuation stage. After she dates, I'm sure she'll menstruate. Now that's what I mean by short-term therapy. I got my patient involved.
Cod Royal will do it every time.
What time is it?
Just about 4.
How many of you believe in Aladdin's lamp?
Aladdin's lamp.
There's Thomasina Doubt.
Thomasina Doubt. That's her name.
Doubting Thomasina.
Yesterday.
Hmm?
I'm mistrust.
You mistrust.
No. Yesterday. She's
You named her
mistrust.
mistrust, yes.
Mistrust. What about Aladdin's lamp?
They,
Are you interested in Aladdin's lamp?
Sure.
Do you believe in it?
No. I do.
And there's a genie that comes out. A real genie. She's beautiful. She's all mine.
Oh, wait. Is it purple? You mean her name's Betty?
No?
It's Jeannie.
I just call it a beautiful one. Out down Thomasina.
What?
Down Thomasina. When you put a plug in a wall socket connected with a bulb, when the light turn on,
yes, sometimes.
and when you pull out the plug, the lights go out.
That's right.
All right, we go back there and plug in that cord. And we all know the great change down in Thomasina.
What?
They're all up there down in Thomasina,
We're supposed to watch him.
changing.
This one?
Backward into that plug.
Oh, God.
The lights went on, didn't they?
When?
The lights are on.
As you said. You also said they'd go out when you pull the plug out. Now pull out the plug.
She did. There's a battery in it.
No.
Yes, there is. No, plugging it in gives it some extra energy for a while. Then it goes out.
Has a capacitor.
What?
Has a capacitor. Sure.
Right, to store the energy.
And you're not going to be so positive in your statements anymore.
Yes, it
So now if you'll take this, put it on my desk, and decontaminate me.
Decontaminate. Are these contaminants?
Are bugs, aren't they?
I want to
wanted to ask you if you knew about the Japanese national living treasures. Did you know that there was such a category? No? Did you think I am teasing? No, you knew that I am serious. Yes. All right. I visited Japan in June, and I visited some of them. They are craftsmen and very highly skilled potters and weavers. They do absolutely magnificent work, and the government gives them, after very careful deliberation over many, many months, this special title of a living national treasure, which I think we should do in the United States. So I brought Dr. Erickson a shirt in which I had that printed, and on the back, the back is Japanese for the same thing. So.
And my son, he teaches in high school, usually chaperones dances, or any gathering. You're going to wear that t-shirt and look mysterious.
Good.
And on weekends, he'll wear it up square peak.
Oh, very good.
That would really be appropriate for that. Milton, did you want me to bring in any of the other folders or whatever?
I finished with.
What? Or just?
I finished with the folders.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Shall I tell you about my spooky dream?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hello. Let's go to the Herd Museum.
I see, that's what I said. They went to the Herd Museum and I guessed it right.
I walked out. Yeah, I just got it there.
There it is. The next present.
This is from Judy and Donna and Nancy and Gail. Do you know what it is?
I don't know the technical name.
Pardon?
I don't know the technical name.
It's corn. It's corn.
No, that's
Names. It's amazing, the technical name. It's the old Indian name.
Where's that dream?
All right, this was just a dream about an apartment that I lived in for many years. And there was a housekeeper who was a very old lady. And she needed a new cot, a new bed. So I gave her a new bed, got her a new bed. And when I got home, she put it into my bedroom. And I didn't want her to be in my bedroom, but at the same time, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So I said to her, what I really want you to do is to put your bed in your room. And she got very angry with me. And she said, I'm going to put a hex on you. And she had these kind of little voodoo dolls, and she shook them. And I woke up from the dream, sort of backing off from that. I wasn't frightened by it, but it was a kind of unusual dream for me to have.
Try tonight to dream the explanation.
Are we all here?
I'm sorry we were late. We got involved in that museum with all the Indian artifacts. And then buying you a gift.
I'm glad you were late.
Oh, good. Why? Can I give you one more bug? Oh, no.
SAMOGIPNOZ. Yeah, sure. I had a question left over from yesterday that I thought about asking, and then I was embarrassed, so I didn't ask it. But I mentioned it to some people last night, and they gave me the courage to ask it. And the question has to do with, you know, when you said that there was a woman that you had put in a trance, and then 20 years later you saw her, and she immediately went into trance. That it's kind of like, once it happens, it's there forever. And the question that led to in my mind was how similar three concepts seem to me. And those three concepts are trance, love, and transference, all of which I think would be constant 20 years later, or whenever later. That it's just a certain kind of energy that happens between people, and it's not voluntary, it's unconscious, and it's there, and once it clicks, it's clicked. And so I just was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
And I do. She was an experimentalist, and so was I.
She was an experimentalist, yeah, and so was he.
And we had 4 things in common.
4 things.
What's the fourth?
That was the 4th.
The experimental mindedness.
Experimental mindedness.
I also had a question from yesterday, and that involved your friends, Wanda and Max, whom you felt you could not really work with because it would have been an intrusion in spite of the fact that he was really stuck. But you have told us of many other situations where you began to work with a person who was obviously in trouble. How did you decide in that case not to try to do something?
I was a newcomer to the staff. I had just met them.
I see. It would not have been politic, among other things.
And so I was always usually brushed. Wouldn't put that brush.